So this is the assembly video for the thruster light that I've designed. This is the exact light that I took up to the Midwest RepRap Festival 2019. So some of this stuff has been pre-assembled, but that's the beauty of this design is even though I have had this lamp fully assembled, you can disassemble the whole thing in a matter of minutes and put it back together again. So it makes it really nice and modular and compatible, which is what I really wanted in part of this design. So basically, all the components laid out right now are needed for building this. Everything is oriented basically in the manner that it needs to be printed. Going over the things that you'll have to obviously buy from the store is the lamp cord, this lamp socket, and a light bulb. The lamp socket, this one I bought at Menards, which is the one that I have designed the kit for. The spreadsheet of parts that are needed to build this is included with all the files and everything. There are direct links on that for the pieces I used for this. For the lamp socket, there is a Leviton one and an Amazon link of a different socket that I have put on the spreadsheet. Neither of those I have tried with this design, so I'm not sure if they work, but they look to be close enough that they would work. If someone does try one of those two, please send me a note or something so I can include that in the spreadsheet and get that updated to let other people know that it does in fact work. So first off, the thing that you'll obviously have to do is take your two-prong lamp cord, run it up through the leg, through the center of the socket holder here in the middle, and you'll have to connect it to the socket. The socket that I use had the wire leads basically crimped onto it already, so I had to solder the lamp cord to that. If you do that, make sure you have some heat shrink on there because there's no other way of keeping those wires apart. Otherwise, I think the Leviton one has screw terminals on the back of that, so that's fairly easy to put those on. The one thing that's important is the smooth side of your lamp cord should always go to your black hot wire. Otherwise, you'll be tripping breakers or have a potential fire hazard on your hands. So make sure you get that done properly. The other thing is for the light bulbs, I really suggest using an LED light bulb. You can use an incandescent, but I'd probably stay something that's under 15 watts, which at that point, why bother? Just switch to an LED. This one's a 4-watt Philips one, which I think is about a 40-watt equivalent. So many options out there. The problem with the incandescent ones is they'll heat up inside of this and possibly melt the shade, which after all the time you've spent printing all these parts, you don't want to deal with that. So first thing, we'll take the lamp socket here, press it in the socket holder. I should make note that when feeding the wires through the socket holder, there is not a top or bottom to it, so either side that you have facing up or down doesn't really matter. From there, we'll take our bottom section here. The bottom section, when it prints out, there will be a designed-in support block under here. A pair of pliers, you should be able to pull that out pretty easily. So we'll take our socket, feed the wires down through that slot, and then you will see inside the bottom of this there are 3 points where this socket holder is actually designed to rest into. Now it can be a difficult fit to get it in there, especially if the wires don't cooperate with you. But if it doesn't press right down in there, you may have to come back with an X-Acto knife or a file to clean that up. It all depends on your printer's tolerances. Everything here I've designed to the tolerance on my printer, so your results may vary. From there, we'll take our socket pins. So there's holes in the side that just above each of these 3 arms that these can get pressed into. And here's where you may want a pair of pliers just to simply hold these because there's no other good way of holding these parts, unfortunately, because I didn't want to make anything bigger than it needed to be in this file because the whole point was to conserve material Hence why all these parts are basically designed to print without support material. So I'm trying to waste as little material as possible while still having a nice design. All right, so those are in there. They're pretty tight fit. So we'll set that aside just for a brief second. We'll take our lampshade here and we'll take one of our top portions of the legs, feed it down. So now the thing is to look at the 3 positioning tabs here on our lampshade and match them up with the 3 tabs on the bottom. This leg that we just slid on, you want to position with this slot here in the side of the bottom ring. So your first instinct is going to be to go like that and twist and lock it in place. Don't do that quite yet, because actually what you have to do, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, is take your bottom leg here and slide it into the top leg. Make sure that front face is nice and smooth with each other. Now you'll want to try to get this bottom portion back in line with the actual lampshade itself. And this is the part that becomes a little tricky because you're going to have to try to pull this cord in or out depending on how much slack you gave yourself. And this is the one part that isn't quite the easiest, but if I made the tolerances any bigger, it would kind of detract from the look of the lamp, I feel. Alright, so there it is. Like I said, that's probably about the hardest part about assembling this whole lamp, which if you can handle that, then I think you're golden. So now what I'm just trying to do is pull up a little excess slack of the cord. Alright, there we go. So now you can kind of see it's a little nicer in there. You don't have as much cord hanging around. You want to still leave a little in there just so you can actually get it apart in the future. So we'll set that there and we'll assemble the rest of our legs. So we'll take these 2 parts, here again, just slide them together. And usually this is best done on a flat surface where you can actually sit and push the parts together. Alright, and then we'll go here, slide them in around the side of the lamp, just like that. And now you'll inherently want to make it stand upright like this, but nothing's locking in the legs. So let's fix that. We'll take our top ring here, get that lined up, twist and lock that in place. There we go, now it's standing up on its own. Lastly, we'll take our bottom ring here, get that lined up, and then we'll do the same thing on the top. There we go. Last 2 steps. Screw in the light bulb, which, here again, probably getting ahead of myself. It's usually a little easier to put the light bulb in with that whole top ring off. And lastly, we'll grab our power strip here, flip it on. And there we go, now I got a fully working light.